February 19th, 2015. The night Baltimore stopped burning and Prince started seeing. Prince heard Purple Rain coming from a street corner at 2:30 a.m. But this wasn't his version. This was something else. Something broken and true and impossible to ignore. A homeless white man in a Vietnam jacket sat against a brick wall on 5th and Hennepin, playing an acoustic guitar covered in scars. Not metaphorical scars, real ones. Bullet holes, shrapnel gouges. The wood was split near the sound hole where something had torn through it 50 years ago in a jungle 10,000 miles away. Gray hair, hollow eyes staring at nothing, or maybe at everything, at ghosts only he could see. His cardboard sign said, Vietnam Vet, 101st Airborne, 1968-1970, homeless. Prince had just driven 18 hours from Baltimore. The rally for peace was over. Thousands had gathered. He'd performed Baltimore, the song he'd written in rage and grief after Freddie Gray died in police custody. The crowd had sung every word, their voices rising into the Maryland night, demanding justice, demanding change, demanding that someone, anyone, see them. But now Prince was back in Minneapolis, exhausted and hollow, watching another black man the system had killed. And here was a white man the same system had chewed up and spit out 50 years earlier. Two different wars, same forgotten soldiers. Prince reached forward in the BMW and touched his driver's shoulder. No words. Jerome had driven for Prince for 9 years. He knew the language of silence. The car pulled over. If you want to hear stories that uncover the hidden moments music history forgot, subscribe now. Some truths only survive when we remember them together. The man's name was Robert Hayes. When Robert enlisted in 1968 at 19 years old, his fiancée Linda bought him a guitar. "Bring it back," she'd said. "Bring yourself back." She'd kissed him at the bus station, her hand on his chest, and he'd promised both things. Robert kept his promise about the guitar. But Linda wasn't waiting. The letter came in August 1970, 3 months before his tour ended. Linda had met someone else. When Robert came home, Linda had married someone else. His job was gone. By 1975, Robert was living in his truck. By 2010, Robert Hayes was permanently on the streets. Agent Orange and pills had destroyed his body. The guitar kept him alive. Not literally, but close enough. When he played, especially when he played Prince's music, something inside him remembered being human, remembered being the boy who'd kissed Linda at the bus station, remembered believing the world made sense. This was truth, raw, unpolished, unforgiving. Prince stepped out and walked toward Robert. He leaned against the brick wall, 5 feet away. Respectful distance. He listened to the rest of Purple Rain, to the way Robert's voice cracked on, "I just want to see you laughing in the purple rain," to the way his fingers trembled on the last chord. When the song ended, Robert looked up and saw Prince. "Jesus," he whispered. Not a curse, a prayer. Prince nodded once. "Where'd you learn to feel like that?" Robert stared. His hands were shaking now, and not from the cold. You're him. You're Prince." "I am. And you're playing my song like you lived every word." Robert's throat closed. Tears started, freezing on his cheeks before they could fall. I can't." Prince crouched down and touched the bullet hole. "She's been through it," Prince said softly. "Vietnam," Robert managed. 1969. Should have killed me. Got her instead." Prince nodded slowly. He understood instruments the way other people understood lovers. This guitar had saved Robert's life by taking the bullet. That kind of debt doesn't fade. "What's your name, soldier?" "Robert Hayes, Sergeant, 101st Airborne. Robert. Prince stood up, pulled out his phone. I need you to trust me for about 5 minutes. Can you do that? Robert didn't understand, but he nodded. Prince made one call, spoke quietly, turning slightly away. It's me. I need immediate placement, full program, housing, medical, PTSD treatment, everything. Tonight, I don't care what it costs. Handle it, now. He hung up, turned back to Robert. How long since you slept in a bed? Robert blinked. Math was hard. Time was broken. Maybe 8 years? 9? You're sleeping in one tonight. There's a place, Twin Cities Veteran Support. They're expecting you. I'm taking you there myself, right now. You already paid in 1969. System owes you. I'm collecting for you. Robert started crying fully now. 50 years of holding it together, gone. Why? You don't know me. Why would you? Prince unwrapped the purple scarf from his neck. Paisley pattern. Silk. Worth more than Robert had touched in 5 years. He stepped forward, wrapped it carefully around Robert's neck, tucking it into his torn jacket. The gesture was gentle, paternal, because I just spent 18 hours in Baltimore trying to make people see us, see Black lives, see that we matter. And I come home and find you, and you're invisible too. Different war, same system, same abandonment. He paused. I see you, Robert. You're not invisible anymore. Robert couldn't speak, could barely breathe. Prince held out his hand. Not for a hug, for a handshake. Man to man, soldier to soldier, equal respect. Robert took it, their hands locked. Firm grip, eye contact. 10 seconds of silence that said everything words couldn't. Then Prince helped Robert to his feet, steadied him when he swayed, and guided him toward the BMW. What about? Robert looked back at his cardboard sign, his spot, everything he owned. Leave it. You don't need it anymore. Robert got in the BMW. As they drove away, he looked back once at his old life. It was over. The 18-minute drive to Twin Cities Veteran Support was mostly silent. Prince asked questions. Quiet questions. Where'd you serve? How long you been out here? You got family? Robert answered in fragments, short sentences. His brain couldn't process full thoughts yet. Couldn't believe this was real. Sharon Dawson and Dr. Chen were waiting. They showed Robert to a room with a real bed. Before leaving, Prince said, Play again when you're ready. You deserve it. Robert nodded. Thank you. Seemed too small, so he didn't say it. Just nodded. Prince started to leave, then stopped, turned back. One more thing. You ever need anything, you call this number. He handed Robert a card. Plain white, just a phone number, no name. That goes to someone I trust. You call, they'll handle it. Medical, housing, whatever. You're not alone anymore. Then he was gone. The purple BMW disappeared into the Minneapolis night, and Robert sat on a real bed for the first time in 8 years, holding a guitar that had survived Vietnam, wearing a scarf that smelled like expensive cologne and impossible kindness. And he wept until he fell asleep, sitting up. Robert spent 6 months in treatment, therapy, meals. Slowly, the nightmares faded. Robert moved into an apartment. He thought it was a veteran grant. It wasn't. He reconnected with his daughter. She brought his granddaughter, 8 years old. They started rebuilding. Robert started playing guitar again, not on streets, in his apartment. Quiet songs, sometimes Prince songs, sometimes old country songs his father taught him. Sometimes nothing recognizable, just sounds that helped him process 50 years of frozen emotions thawing slowly. He attended a support group at the Veterans Center twice a week. Played guitar there sometimes when other guys asked. Never performed. Just shared music the way soldiers share cigarettes. Because it helped. Because it connected. He never knew Prince had saved him. He thought the support organization had his name on a waiting list. Thought the apartment was government assistance. Thought Dr. Chen was assigned by the VA. Prince had been so careful to erase himself from the paper trail, to let Robert rebuild his dignity without the weight of impossible debt, that Robert just believed he'd finally gotten lucky after 50 years of bad luck. April 21st, 2016. Robert was in his apartment, practicing guitar, when his daughter called. "Dad, turn on the news, any channel." Prince was dead. Found unresponsive at Paisley Park, 57 years old. The world stopped. Buildings lit up in purple. Radio stations played nothing but his music for days. Presidents made statements. Celebrities wept on camera. The planet mourned. Robert watched the coverage in numb shock. He recognized something. The car, the BMW, purple, rare color. He'd seen that car. Where had he seen it? Then they showed Paisley Park, showed Prince's face in close-up. And Robert remembered. February 19th, 2015. The corner, the cold. The man who'd stopped and listened and asked questions and made a phone call and wrapped a purple scarf around his neck and said, "You're not invisible anymore." Oh God. That was Prince. Robert's hands started shaking. He called Sharon Dawson. The one who arranged everything. That was Prince, wasn't it? Silence on the line. Then quietly, "I can't confirm or deny any donor information, Robert." "Sharon, please." Another silence. Then, "He helped 17 veterans that year. You were the first. He never wanted anyone to know. Made us promise. But yes, everything. The placement, the apartment, the treatment, the money. All of it. He called it paying a debt the system refused to pay." Robert hung up, sat on his bed, stared at the guitar with the bullet holes, at the purple scarf he still kept in his closet, at the life he'd built from nothing. Except it wasn't from nothing. It was from 18 minutes on a frozen corner when a legend decided an invisible man deserved to be seen. In May 2016, Robert attended a PTSD support group. New members were sharing stories. One guy, younger, Iraq veteran, mentioned, "I was homeless in 2015, living under a bridge. Then out of nowhere, Twin Cities Veteran Support found me, got me placed, got me stable. Weirdest thing was, another guy in my housing unit said the same thing happened to him. And another. Like someone was funding all of us." Robert's head snapped up. "What month? What month did they find you?" "March 2015. Why?" Another veteran spoke up. "August 2015 for me. Same deal. Homeless one day, apartment the next." A third. "June 2015. I thought I was on a waiting list for 2 years. Then suddenly they called, said a spot opened." Robert's voice was quiet. "February 2015. 5th and Hennepin. I was playing guitar. Prince stopped his car." The room went silent. "You too?" the Iraq veteran whispered. "I never told anyone, but yeah. This guy in a purple car. I thought I imagined it." Robert leaned forward. "The scarf? Did he give you something?" "A hat. I still have it." "Gloves," another veteran said. "Purple gloves. He wrapped them around my hands and said, 'You need these more than I do.'" They looked at each other. 17 veterans. Same year. Same anonymous donor. Same purple car appearing on the worst night of their lives. They started meeting separately. Just them once a month. Called themselves the Purple Rain Group, though never publicly. Shared stories Prince never wanted credit for. Slowly pieced together his last year. How he'd driven Minneapolis streets between tours, between recording sessions, looking for the invisible ones. How he'd funded an entire shadow support system. How he'd died with thousands of unreleased songs in his vault, but also 17 saved lives nobody knew about. Every year on February 19th, Robert Hayes goes to 5th and Hennepin at 2:30 a.m. Not Paisley Park, not the public memorials, the corner, where the brick wall still stands, where he was invisible until he wasn't. He brings his guitar, stands in the same spot, plays Purple Rain once, quietly, so only the ghosts can hear. He doesn't play for an audience. There's never an audience. Just him in the memory of the night his life changed. Just him in the purple scarf he wears every time. Just him in the understanding that sometimes salvation comes from the most unexpected places. Driven by a man who didn't have to stop but did anyway. Other veterans have asked to join him. He always says no. Not because he's selfish. Because this moment is sacred. Because Prince gave him anonymity as a gift, let him rebuild without the weight of impossible debt. And Robert honors that by keeping the ritual private. Just him in the corner, and the music, and the memory of hands shaking in the cold, eye to eye, soldier to soldier. Two men from different wars, understanding that the system breaks everyone. But sometimes, if you're impossibly lucky, someone stops their car at 2:30 a.m. and decides you matter. Robert never became a professional musician, never toured, never recorded. He plays at the Veterans Center twice a week, teaching younger guys 3 chords the way his father taught him 70 years ago. He has dinner with his daughter and granddaughter every Sunday. He's been sober since that night. The prescription pills are gone. The nightmares still come, but less often. And when they do, he knows grounding techniques that help him separate 1969 from now. He lives in the same efficiency apartment, works part-time at a hardware store, enough to feel useful. The trust fund Prince set up still covers his rent and medical care, though Robert didn't learn about the trust until 2018, when lawyers contacted him about Prince's estate. $500,000. Put aside specifically for Robert Hayes, managed so he'd receive monthly payments for life. Anonymous until Prince died and the paperwork had to be settled. When Robert learned the amount, he wept. Not because of the money. Because Prince had believed Robert's life was worth that much. Worth saving, worth fighting for. Worth stopping a purple BMW at 2:30 a.m. in -12 degrees to see an invisible man and say, "You matter." In 2017, a Paisley Park technician named Marcus found a USB drive in Prince's private safe, labeled February 19th, 2015. Security camera footage from 5th and Hennepin, the 18 minutes, everything. Prince standing against the wall, the phone call, the scarf, the handshake, the BMW driving away. Marcus watched it once, called Robert. "I found something. I think you need to see this." They met at Paisley Park. Marcus showed him the footage on a laptop in one of the studios. Robert watched himself from above, from the security camera's angle. Watched Prince stop. Listen. Approach. Stay. Care. When it ended, Robert was crying again. Marcus asked, "Do you want this released? The world should know. This is who he was." Robert thought for a long time. Thought about Prince's insistence on anonymity, on letting Robert rebuild with dignity instead of charity, on the fact that Prince died without ever taking credit, without ever asking for recognition. "No," Robert said finally. He didn't want credit. He just wanted to help. Releasing this would dishonor that. Marcus nodded. "I thought you'd say that. I'll keep it archived. Secure, maybe someday. But not now. The footage remains private, locked in Paisley Park's servers, protected by people who understand that Prince's greatest legacy wasn't the music he released, It was the lives he changed in silence, the soldiers he saw when everyone else looked away. The 18 minutes he spent on a frozen corner proving that purple rain really does wash everything clean if someone cares enough to stand in it with you. Robert Hayes is 77 now. The guitar with bullet holes sits in a case in his apartment. His granddaughter plays it sometimes, learning the same 3 chords her great-grandfather learned in 1945. There's a family story about how Grandpa Robert met Prince once, helped him somehow, though the details are fuzzy because Robert doesn't talk much about it. But every February 19th, Robert stands on a corner at 2:30 a.m. with his Vietnam jacket and his purple scarf and his scarred guitar. And he plays Purple Rain for an audience of ghosts and memories and the enduring truth that sometimes, when the world says you're invisible, one person seeing you is enough to change everything. 2 different wars, same forgotten soldiers. Until one night, one man decided forgetting wasn't acceptable. And 18 minutes later, everything was different. That's the real legacy. Not the albums, not the Super Bowl, not the awards. The legacy is Robert Hayes, alive and sober and playing guitar on a corner at 2:30 a.m., proving that purple rain still falls, still cleanses, still saves. If you remember nothing else, remember this. Prince stopped his car, and that made all the difference.